All right, let's jump right in over here. This is a very brief sub-module where we talk about the different methods that are used to assess and test personality. So there are a couple of different categories of evaluations for personality. We'll start off with the self-report inventories. These are ways of administering a series of questions to people and giving them an opportunity to answer for themselves based on what they're reading. Now, it's not as straightforward as simply tell us your personality or being able to read a set of questions that seems very obvious about what they're asking. The methods are actually quite sophisticated. The most sophisticated of all personality inventories is known as the Mmpi. The Mmpi, now in its second edition, has versions up to 587 questions. Now, that's a lot of questions to have to answer about yourself to reflect your personality. And that's because it's a very sophisticated measure that is not only asking you about your personality traits. Are you outgoing? Are you shy? Are you gregarious? Are you easygoing? Or are you difficult? But it is also checking on how reliable and valid the answers are that you're given. And it's built with these reliability and validity scales to check how valid are your answers. And there's also a scale referred to as the lie scale to make sure that you're not lying in your answers and perhaps you're trying to fake being good, meaning you're trying to fake being something more than you are, or maybe even some people are faking bad. For some reason they have an investment in giving answers that make them seem less put together. Okay? So that's the MMPI, an example of the self-report inventory. We're now going to turn to projective tests. These are a series of tests that are meant to use the Freudian mechanism of projection, which is a way of projecting outwards from my inner being. How might I get people to project from their inner being outwards so that I can see what their personality really is inside? These are less obvious measures. The MMPI is one that I could read and it says, are you happy? Or do you like to go and play risky games? So it's asking me questions that I could kind of begin to figure out. But projective tests are not obvious. So I might get a Rorschach Inkblot test, which is a series of ink blots. There are about 10 Inkblot cards, and each one looks really like an Inkblot. Maybe it looks something like this. Right? I'm just drawing one here, and then they'll ask you, what does this look like to you? Now, in reality, it's just an ink blot. But people will begin to say, oh, this looks like a pond. It looks like a bat. It looks like whatever it comes out of their mind. And that helps the evaluator to assess aspects of a person's personality based on what they're projecting forward. Another version of a projective test is called the Thematic Apperception test. This test gives respondents a picture, a still photo as it were. It's really more of an etching, and they're asked to report back what is happening in the story with a beginning, middle, and an end, and also to tell the emotions of the characters in the story. And by doing so, it is believed that the participants are projecting again from their own inner feelings onto the image and onto the story what they are thinking, feeling, and ultimately a reflection of their personality. So these are, again, a different form of test. They are not as supported in terms of validity, scientific validation, but they have a quite extensive use still to this day. And for your purposes, this is a good place to begin for understanding projective tests for the CLEP exam.